Very happy to be with you guys. Sorry for the few minutes delay. I keep moving the wires. YouTube keeps moving the buttons, and so it's about getting everything in place. So let's hope that Shiva will help us put everything in proper order, or at least further our understanding this evening. I'm very happy to be with you, and Kevin and Mandy, so good to see you. Jana, very good to see you. Tony, super good to see you. Jochen, very good to see you. I'm so happy that you're here, guys, and also for the beautiful questions that were pre-submitted. And I just want to thank the regular supporters, subscribers over at Coffee, where you can, of course, also sign up. But thank you so much to Carla and Laurie, and to Salish and Essen, and also thank you to Mandy and Sophia. And to Brian and Sophia for pre-submitting questions today as well as everyone who's contributed to this work on the path. Thank you so much. So without further ado, I hope these full moon energies are sitting well with you. And I've just kind of entitled this a general moon live stream. I felt this was a fairly powerful moon, and I think I'll ask him to do an introduction about essentially what is it about these moons? Why are some moons more powerful, and why are other moons similar, or other full moons? Why do they have less effect? It seems, at least that's how I experience it. I hope you're doing well, guys. I'm looking forward to an evening of channeling. Much love to you out there. A sacred vibration creates this moment. A sacred vibration is held by each point of consciousness, and together you create the space for me to enter. Greeting you this day from on high, I descend into these realms of difference to bring union to your hearts, your minds, and your innermost being. The true essence of you is at play in existence. You may understand that the serene and truthful being, the Sat itself, that is your inner being, that cannot be perturbed, it cannot be disturbed, it cannot be destroyed, it cannot be added to or taken from. It is full, complete, and whole. Yet it is invested in existence. There is no difference between it and existence. And so whatever experience you are having is the raw experience of the soul. And the fine light that moves in through the heavenly bodies reminds you of these cycles of the soul, of this raw experience, and how it fluctuates and sees itself in these shimmers on the surface of existence, in this Maya, this interplay of illusion. There it beholds itself, this essence of yours, and it sees itself stirred. It sees itself mirrored in the moonlight, just as the moon is illuminated by the sun and then casts its own rays into a night of shadows. So you also move as a separate, lesser body around this murky experience of yours. And yet sometimes you are illuminated by a far greater being behind you, that sun that always shines and that illuminates you fully at some moments. So along with the moon, you are illuminated. Along with the moon, the shadows of your life too, they become defined and you see their outlines. You become aware of the contours of your shifting soul as you behold them in your moonlight. I, the Lord of Consciousness, I come to you this day to share in wisdom and to share in this expansion of being. I thank you and I transmit, emit, and transfer my unconditional love to you in this moment and in all moments. May union reside, may being know itself to be. Blessings, dear humans. There he was, that guy. Hello, Suzanne. Very good to see you too. I'll just start taking questions here from the pre-submitted stack. And so Sophia asks for a definition of the concept of life by Shiva. So thank you for that beautiful opening question. As I take in the question and extend my gratitude for the opening in this discussion, this sacred sitting, this Upanishad or exchange that we are having, I also thank you for pointing to it. That is, I thank you for pointing to the limitations of language. I am being asked to define the concept of life. And yet, in this very request lies the limitations. Life, it cannot be defined as a concept. It is not one particular thing. Rather, it is everything. It is the fullness that remains when things are subtracted. It is the fullness that exists when things are added to it, remaining whole, complete, and full in and of itself, unified as the zero and the one. So this is the force of life. It is better understood than or grasped as a sentiment, an emotion, something that moves in you, a motion, a stirring, an awakening, a difference, a play, a shimmer. These are more helpful ways of dancing around it. So definitions, they are so wonderful because they help us see the things that we can then avoid, to grow, to attach to. In that way, the greater outline you put on this illimitable, undefinable, ceaseless, outpouring life, the more you will also realize that whatever you want it to be, there is always something more left of it for you to participate in. And so there is no difference between life and you. And so to me, you are life force itself, pouring itself forward to behold and marvel at its creation. It creates and paints on the blank canvas of nothingness, on the vast stillness of eons upon eons of non-existence. This play, this life force that bends itself, this spirit coming to be, this is where we all meet in the infinities of life. My love to you, dear one, to everyone, indeed. Sophia also asked for a message from her guardian angel. She's telling you to chill. She's literally asking you to cool down. She is showing us images of the place called Antarctica. And she is showing us images of the penguins there. So she is pointing to their pattern of mating and of bringing forward new life in circumstances that seem inaccessible to life. So she is asking you to contemplate how eggs are hatched in the cold and to see how you yourself may emulate the wisdom of these odd featherless birds in your own life. May the resourcefulness of the penguins move into your life. Have fun playing with that, dear one. Yes, penguins. Who doesn't like penguins? And then Brian asks, he would love to learn to channel, but he's unsure which entity he should attempt channeling. And could Shiva tell him which specific being or collective is most aligned to channel through me? It's a very interesting question. Thank you so much. Yes. Before I return to the substance of your question, to answer that, I will let you know that you are seeking this because you wish to connect. But in doing so, you may be overlooking the connections that are already there. Wink, wink. That is, notice sometimes human beings will find themselves in the situation where they're looking for their sunglasses or something similar. And then all of a sudden, perhaps after looking for them for a frustrating amount of time, they discovered that they were sitting in their forehead the entire time. So this is the idea that the closer you turn your gaze to home, the more you will know that this quest that you put forward, that you have already stepped far down the path and you are already connected so deeply to these energies that you, for instance, resonance with these high vibrational energies coming through different other human beings. So there is a vibrancy at home for you. A way you could map this out for yourself is you could sit down and make a scorecard, a list, and you could put forward the entities, the many entities you know. You could simply do a brainstorm, put forward the ones that come forward on a piece of paper, the ones that spring to mind. And then looking over this piece of paper, you could prioritize which ones you feel the most drawn to, which ones have appealed to you the most in the past, who have somehow, I hesitate to use the word enticed or lured, but they have called you and you have heeded that call. Here you will find that these resonance patterns within you, they are there because they speak to the energetic configurations of your specific incarnation. That is the lifetime you are having right now. Therefore, you may find that the beings that are connected to Venus, they are known as the Venusians, but you will find that if you begin to move down this line of inquiry, there will be other beings that are connected to you, also using this planet as a type of transmitting relay, that are looking to connect to you. You will find that there are beings also connected to a friendly species of the ones you often call the reptilians, though this is a great broad designation for a vast host of species. These particular species, they give us the name, the Klam, K-L-A-M. And these Klam, they are a type of, again, subdivision. Essentially, this Klam title is more of the type of expeditionary force that is currently moving around in orbit around the planet. They come as an extension of a different civilization. You can connect to these. You will find that the color red in combination with pentagons and hexagons will help you unlock a closer connection. This is one of many venues you can move down. You will find that there are certain natural spirits, spirits of the oceans, for instance, also calling you forward. And so have fun exploring these energies, attuning to them, amplifying them, and letting them out. My love to you, dear one. And Salish asks, what are the most important messages and suggestions? First he says, Om Namah Shivaya, greetings to you, Lord Shiva and Miss. Thank you. I thank you in advance and awaiting your replies in anticipation. First question. What are the most important messages and suggestions you are able to impart regarding the speeding up on my spiritual growth? I thank you in advance. Well, I would say allow the growth to page you, wave you down, signal you from subtle sources, often from inner sources. So you may find that there will be a proliferation of bodily symptoms in these coming months. We sense in particular approaching November of this year, you may experience and undergo different physical sensations that could feel rather unpleasant. So here, for instance, I'm addressing more directly changes in your sleep cycle. I am pointing to spontaneous cramps you may experience, the urge to perform certain kriyas, or that is spasms and rapid repeated movements in order to shake out energy. You may even experience that your breath will sometimes grow shallow as your body releases layers of anxiety that are stored within it. You may also notice that sometimes it will grow deep and relaxed as it takes in this spaciousness that you are opening up to. Therefore, I will first outline that the important advice here is that bodily issues can helpfully also be addressed through bodily means. So be kind to yourself as you stay attentive of what is going on. It would be helpful for you to take notes or jot down the progress or experiences of what is going on in these awakening stages. Then drinking ample amounts of water, and then taking in protein in great amounts. You may seek out your favorite protein sources, but it would be important for you to consider that your body is in need of a lot of protein at the moment. This is the general outline, and that is allow yourself to become very focused on the near details of the unfolding of your awakening. And then you will, in this way, develop the resonance chamber in which these other experiences are coming to you and being transmitted. So you are preparing for something, and let that preparation also be patiently undergone. So allow yourself ample time to change. As things speed up, slowing down can be very helpful. Much love to you, dear one. And second question, I was healed from my alcohol addiction during a Reiki session by Durga Ma, an aspect of poverty. What connection do I have with you, Durga Ma, and Ganesh? So there are many lineages feeding into your existence. That is both Akashic or past lives and ancestral of your genetic line. Here we sense especially connected to your mother's line. Many acolytes of my being have belonged to this family tree. You will find that it is a tradition in this family line often that when children have been sired and the responsibilities of life have been taken care of through many decades, the men in particular have retreated into inner exploration. They have went to the woods or to similar places to prepare for coming lifetimes and to rid themselves of ties and bonds to this world that do not serve them. This is one reason that you are called to my being. That is, you could consider the entire sacred family that is connected to me as someone whom you could consider this sacred family also as patron deities to much of your genetic line, especially the genetic line that is active and resonating with you at this very moment. But you will also find that your inclination personally is towards my being. It is towards the revelation of consciousness. It is towards the transcendence of pain. It is also through the transmutation of toxicity. And as you bring up this example, you will find that the toxicity of the alcohol became a type of agent for the rebirth. And so this motherly aspect, this mother's milk, or the poor substitute you were taking in the form of the alcohol, it was then given to you spiritually because you had been seeking it and calling for it by the motherly aspect of our being. And so the result, the place that you are moving to with this, is the prosperity of Ganesh. It is this form of incarnate luck of coming to terms with existing that is being resolved within you. And therefore you may find that your being and his being, they approach each other. They are coming closer. You would do well in seeking out his protection and assistance. He calls you forward with love. And then third question, what is the best way for me to connect consciously to the IL, specifically an entity named Imyana, the one that was mentioned to me by the Syrian blue light beings? Oh, the very best way for you, dear one, would be to let them take you to their ships. So you would find that they are probing the parameters of your home. There has been a type of beacon activated within you. This is a type of signal that then invites them to come closer. And you will find that they may enter, let's say, the lobby of your experience through your dreams first. Then you may begin to have these sensations that there are beings present with you. And then you may feel that there is within your chest a type of triangular structure that is being brought out. But a very helpful thing for you would be to seek the community of other people who are very called to explore the hybrid program. And we encourage you to participate in certain community sessions about this, certain of these, let's call them receptive groups that explore and connect to this. We feel you are aware of certain spaces, and we feel that it would be proper for you to, in this lifetime, take a sojourn to the place known as Sedona, Arizona. And we sense preferably before or in the year 2027. Happy travels. They're waving at you from the ships, blinking with the stars. Happy exploring. Much love. That's always it's just the hybrid stuff is so weird for me to channel. That was the pre-submitted questions, guys. So jumping to the tube. Yes, I'll just start picking questions here. And again, it's so good to see all of you. Tony is just sharing a beautiful blessings. Greetings all in the name of the one infinite and divine creator. Blessings to all in Lord Shiva's name. May the eternal light of the universe shine upon you all. Thank you for that one. Hello, everyone. Jochen says, much love. And question 1, dear Shiva, can you tell me what spirits and counterparts are closely connected to me? Maybe there are some that I am not already aware of. Thank you. Yes, I assure you, dear Jochen, that there are many you are not aware of. That is a part of the exploration. So this goes for you personally and for everyone, that the more you expand, the more you also connect. So the circumference becomes greater. And so as you touch upon a wider surface of existence with your own being, the guides that you can access, they also become wider. But we may sense that who are calling to you quite directly at the moment is the order of angels known as the Seraphim. And you may want to explore that. You may want to dive into it. We sense that it is your guardian angel that wants you to begin to explore these heavenly orders. And we sense here that there is a precedence, a guide, or we could call him a predecessor, a past life of yours that's being activated. And we believe his first name may have been Cornelius. His last name was Agrippa. He was a master of magic in the Middle Ages. And looking into him, you may find approaches to studying where these beings connect and how to invoke them, how to use sigils to expand these connections. This is the message that I am being asked to impart. Go forward and let the angels guide you. My love to you. It's like he has a very, very solemn energy, you know, compared to Yasasani, or like something like crazy playful aliens. Like it's just he is very much like holding like a stone that speaks or something. It's quite powerful for me. But I hope I hope it's working out for you out there. Um, and Jana says, illuminated greetings back to all and foremost to the director of Mondion. Thank you so much. That is, I'm trying to hold the reins here, so it's appreciated. And then Tony asks, dear Lord Shiva, blessed be your holy name. Thank you for connecting with our energy. Can you please advise those of us here how we may best navigate our path back to the light in these trying times? As I thank you for this question, I advise you to not go too eagerly towards that white light, to find the pace that suits your feet. What I'm saying here is that you will often fly too close to the sun, you spiritual seekers, you who seek these experiences, this insight, this knowledge, this union. This is granted to you, because as you seek, so you shall find. But the light, it also allows you to see the darkness that often surrounds you. And so it becomes so compelling to flee, to pick up the pace, to run from this darkness towards the light. And as a suggestion, I offer you instead to sit and let the shine simmer, to sit and behold what it illuminates. So much as if you had spent the entire night waiting for the dawn to come. When it comes, you see the dawn begin to outline the objects in the room you're in. You see how the room becomes vivid, how the moment is imbued with life, with texture, with the richness of existence by this light that moves into it. And so beholding the light that is already there, you allow it to flow. You allow it to also, again, move towards sunset, move towards a new night, so that the light may again return and you may again experience a rebirth. Know that the light grows within you when you have asked to hold it. It will lodge itself in you, and it will illuminate your life. It will shine brighter. It will connect you to the universal power source. That is the light, and that is your inner being, universal being. The being that is. Love to you, dear one. Light surrounds you. And Yana, as I would like to bring more freshness into my life, and I would appreciate your guidance in this, Lord Shiva. Much love. And it's because I think I may have heard so much, listened to so much rap music over the years that like freshness. I don't assume you kind of mean the Big Daddy Kane type, but like more like. A feeling of newness, of sort of spring cleaning. I assume that's it, rather than gold chains and throwing cool hand signs and stuff. So I'll focus. I'll ask him to bring more freshness into my life, and try to stay a little serious here myself. So much love. Yes. So even though I can say read the intentions of the questions you put forward, the energetics of them, and so I'm not confused by these surface confusions that our friend was amusing himself with commenting on. I could point to the fact that freshness is something that you pick out, and so whenever you want something fresh in your life, you can simply choose to engage with something that's very strange and foreign to you. That is, we actually sense that if you were to really get into rap music, you would find that that would be a very fresh element, a very new element in your existence. I am then also sensing that it wouldn't bring you much happiness. On the contrary, you would find it quite insufferable. So I am also joking with you, dear Jana, but what I'm doing when I joke with you is that I point out that you are actually in charge of this. And so the techniques that you can easily use is that you can simply choose things that are very far from your present experience. You could take up a hobby that is completely different, or you may want to seek out and explore a certain community around, for instance. Here we are sensing that you may benefit personally from looking into hypnoregression or these explorations of past lives and memories through hypnotherapy in group settings. And then another element of freshness is simply to start throwing out anything that seems stale on whatever level that may apply. If you feel something you are eating in your diet isn't serving you, or that it's boring you, then phase it out and replace it with something else. If you are tired of one of your chairs, then go get another chair. If you feel like you are always walking the same routes, then go out of your way to pick new places. So do whatever is weird, off, seems slightly challenging, slightly provocative to you, and you will find that this is exactly the freshness that you are looking for. My love to you, dear one. Fresh. Yes, so Kevin, good to see you. Could you explain why our son Xavier's higher self is taking him on a very special path of education? It appears we found a new home for him at accelerated schools. Why did he choose this route? Yes, there is a, let's say, certain censorship from his higher self here that is asking us to only impart some of the information. That is, some of these things will be revealed in decades to come. Notice that you rarely have as long-standing relations and relationships in your life as the ones you have to your children. And so there is much for him to show you about himself and to teach you still. But what his higher self is asking me to reveal to you is that he is having a type of breather, type of off life, life to space out in this lifetime. And that is, he finds that he has been in several lifetimes very engaged in organizational principles. We, for instance, see him here manning an office. This is during the Second World War, but he's manning an office and he's overlooking the logistics of the armament industry in the Second World War on the American side. So he's still returning to this culture, but he's wanting to, let's say, experience it from a more mellow side, because he feels that there has been too much pressure put on him in other lifetimes. You may sense that his soul group, or much of his configuration here, relates to the more mechanical aspect of consciousness. You somehow, or sometimes, gather this under the label of autism, which you are still exploring what actually means as a type of basic human configuration pattern. But you may notice that while this pattern has then played out in certain lifetimes as, let's say, high neuroticism, organizational exertion that he has lived through, now he wants to turn these fairly mechanical or box-like operations into an introspective experience. And so he is very engaged with things that seem very inaccessible to others, which is also why you may find that some of his development may seem a little hard to relate to, both for his parents and his peers. So this is very much what he is informing us and asking us about. It is this path of special exploration but also of being slightly disjointed, of being slightly disconnected. And you may notice that often children come in also as contrast points to balance out the energies that their parents are very much exploring, seeing that you as souls are also very connected and often teach each other lessons over different lifetimes. But you may sense that you have a theme in your lifetime of also being very connected, of also working social interfaces and groups of people. And so there is something in him that balances this out by this, we could say, more disjointed or dislocated, more internal way of being. His higher self greets you with love. And his lower self, or simply the boy that he is, the human being that he is, he loves you too. Oh, it says there was a disconnection here, but just let me know if there's any just let me know if there's any technical issues on your end. I did just say Big Daddy Kane. I totally did. I'm so happy that somebody recognized that that reference. You know, I don't want fans who don't know who G-Rap is, as the saying goes. Okay, it's let's get back to the spirituality here. All silliness aside, and. It's June 4th, yes. And I'll be returning to second questions. I think we can get through all of them, but let's balance it that way. So Heart of the Phoenix says, Lord Shiva, as I progress down this enlightened path, my sensory experiences are becoming more and more enhanced, almost indulgent. We are taught growing up not to be overindulgent. How do we balance these pleasurable experiences on a physical level without fortifying our attachments to these more physical realms? That's a very beautiful question. I think it's very much strikes at the heart of awakening. So thank you so much for that question. Yes. I do understand the question. I appreciate it. And it brings to the forefront of consciousness the question of the bonds, the servitude, the subjugation that consciousness also finds itself in when it is tied to the delight of the world. In that sense, there is a loss of freedom, a loss of stillness in this engagement with the world. However, this is only one aspect. It is very much the transcendental aspect. It is the aspect of denying the world. It is an aspect that has served humanity for a few thousand years. But now you find that matter becomes spiritualized, and spirit becomes materialized. That is indeed, these more effervescent realms are also becoming more and more accessible to you. Even notice that your material pathways to accessing the spiritual realms, they were often scarce, they were often difficult to attain or obtain in the past. And now you have so many pathways to the divine. So what you are doing as you are relishing this sensation of connection, as you are relishing this appreciation, is not per se an indulgence, because it is not a servitude, it is not a karmic bond, it is not a reduction of the world. Your appreciation of that actually stems from the lack of expectation you have of it. So here is the true paradox, the true wonder. That is that the illuminated state can be everything, but it is the state without prerequisites, without definitions and expectations. And so this is the state where the isness of everything begins to shimmer through. And this is not indulgent. It is not pleasurable in the hedonistic sense of, say, stirring the death drive within you, bringing yourself into a state of distracted forgetfulness. It is rather a connection to the state of being, recognizing itself as such. And so the idea that this appreciation arises and is deeply pleasurable is it is the signature of divine pleasure. It is the gratitude that existence is for its sake of its mere isness. It is phrased in another famous expression. It is beholding and enjoying the work of incarnation without anticipating or expecting the fruits of it. So allow yourself to simply relish in this divine pleasure and ask yourself, who is it that takes pleasure in this creation? Is it that indulgent, incarnate body? Or is it not indeed the eyes of God looking out through you, marveling at itself in everything? In love, our love. That was beautiful. And David Haysom asks, Dear Shiva and Mads, do you have a message for me regarding my work with organic agricultural farming? Thank you and blessing. And I just, can I notice that your last name is something with hay, so that just sounds so cool to me, because then it's related to organic farming. I hope you appreciated that. Here's a message coming up. Well, I could say that what our friend here was noticing is that sometimes even in the symbolic realms, there are clues in names and the way these things are ordered. And there is something in you that needs to be connected to the growth of the grass, to the listening into the rhythms of nature. We sense that a being or a force that in the realm of northern mythology is known as Heimdall is greatly connected to you. That is, you will find that your team, your soul group, your configuration is lively, biological, strong, Gaian. We are assisting our friend here in trying to select words for the wonderful visions that you are occasioning within his mind. That is, he is seeing you as a type of entish outgrowth of this planet, type of living tree, somebody who has sentience in all his cells, and rather than this staccato nervous system of the modern human experience, you are someone who is aligned to the natural rhythms. And so you may want to experiment with this as a magic creation, as a channeling of yours. We use this term as this type of direct fun you have to your innermost being that comes out through this stewardship, this cultivation of the land. It really lives so strongly in your being. And therefore you may also over the years experiment with how do your rhythms as a master grower resonate with the rhythms of the moon, of the land, of the seasons. So I wish I could present more direct information to you, but what I can extend to you is deep confirmation. Know that this path, it resonates with you deeply. And in it, you serve not only yourself, but humanity at large. And love for the all. Love to you, dear one. That was beautiful. You guys have some beautiful energy fields and stuff to read. So, and wonderful questions and everything. Thank you so much for that. And I'll just look for first questions here. And Suzanne asks, thank you, Shiva. Are there specific individuals of the Yael that I should connect with? There's a whole command bridge here. That is that they seem to be inviting you onto this exploratory vessel. And within it, the liaisons that are coming forward, quite your counterpart, but that is, there's a specific being here who is, it's hard for us to pinpoint, intelligence officer, librarian, explorer. Maybe even you could use this term first contact expert, but it is someone who's out at these novel ranges of exploration. And she calls herself Lone, Lone. We can then say that Lone is, it's quite a common woman's name. It's often associated with people of his parents' generation in this vessel's language. But she is connecting to you as a counterpart. And then we sense that there is within this general spaceship that she's inhabiting, and where she seems to be managing the intelligence operations. there are other individuals managing this ship. One is called Ilknut, Ilknut, and he kind of presents himself as the commander here. So the entire idea is that the initiation has reached the point where you have established such a permanent link that they can use your home, your base, your very home actually, as a type of platform, as a grid that's affecting your entire neighborhood and indeed much of your state in general. Though there are quite a few individuals connecting, there is a type of energy grid that they're beaming in. So what was transmitted to Salish about these connections, where they were doing more, let's say, preliminary contacts, they have already established with you. And so the question is rather, how much recollection, how much reactivation are you willing to take? Because it seems that Lone Alone here, she is very much establishing or offering a type of contact. And the type of symbol that we are seeing her connected to is 3 intersecting lines like a star, and there are bubbles or small circles at the end of each of these lines, and they are seated within a central circle. That is the contact symbol that she's transmitting to us. Have fun with that, dear Suzanne. Our love to you, dear one. Alien channeling, where does this stuff come from? It's so weird. Thank you. And Shyam says, thank you, Mads. It's good to see you. Dear Shiva, I'm working to shift my job currently and might get a new one soon. I would love to know any inputs on this. Yes. Enjoy the transition in this. So the input I can give you up here from these higher vantage points of consciousness is that what is coming to be and attracting you from the future has already come to pass from where I'm sitting. And so enjoy the passage, this shift from where you are into where you are going. So much as you may experience a stillness when you get on bus, a train, an aircraft, anything that you aren't responsible for piloting yourself. This is a space where you are going from one place to another, but there are no demands put on you. There's nothing you can really do except let the journey play out. And this is an helpful approach because this means that you have already, say, bought the ticket for the future, for the new job, for the transition. So do not worry whether or not you'll get there in time, whether or not your bags will make it to the new place as well. Instead, just know that you are carrying yourself along in perfect order. You are connected, you are whole, you are intact, even more so on the inside as the outside changes. Our love to you, dear one. Wonderful. Uh, no, exactly. And then Jana says that she wouldn't be much into rap music for long, which I kind of also got from him, that there was very much the joke suggesting something that just seemed, completely out there. And that's of course a funny thought experiment. In general, when often people come and we come to this practice and ask for confirmation, and I've been having this guidance, I've been preoccupied with this, should I do it? And where it's, if you try to imagine all the things that you do not feel like doing, or you wouldn't be called to do, then it actually shows us like how we are already locked into a pattern, like how we have certain things that really are our themes we're called to, and then a whole other things that will probably never get into. I don't know, like horsemanship or something that will probably not be in this lifetime for me, for instance. But that would also be a fresh experience. So with that, I think I'll move to second questions, guys, and then just gradually wrap up. But I think we can get through all of them. So I'll just move back and start doing the second ones. And Kevin asked simply a message for his highest good that will also serve others. Well, the message that is being brought forward seems to come to you from the realms of the underground, these hidden realms beneath the mountains. There are certain energy portals that you were very interested in opening and connecting to. That has been a theme for you, something you have prioritized doing. And you may have felt that certain other priorities have taken precedence in your life. A lot of these being personal, more related to your role as a family member, we could say, as a father, as a son, as a husband. But here, you may sense that this theme is calling you again, that the energy senses of the Rockies, they're wanting you to rock them open. They're wanting you to also connect to them. You are where you are for a reason. The land speaks to you deeply, and you hear it. You love the conversation. You can never be truly fully happy if you do not keep this conversation between you and the land going throughout this lifetime. She calls you, she thanks you, she loves you. Mother Earth. Her love to you, my love to you. That was pretty. I got this vision of kind of you moving through mountain peaks and kind of opening these channels of light, these bright pillars to the heavens. So that was just, it was just very that was very pretty. And Diana asks, how do I always tap into the secret of synchronistic living? Thank you. Yes, I enjoy the always, because I would remind you that synchronicity is much like a symphony, that it is through this pattern, these themes that arise, you recognizing a melody that is repeated that you didn't expect, you feeling that there is an emotional resonance in the music of your existence itself that reveals itself to you as you live through it. And so the always, it can only be experienced by being once in a while. So the idea is that the music is, of course, dependent on the breaks, and the synchronicity is depending on showing up in meaningful ways on the backdrop of, let's say, fairly predictable, fairly normal experience. But you will find that predictable, normal experience becomes sweeter. It plays to a happier tune when you begin to appreciate and notice the patterns. Maybe even when you start calling them in. So if you want to live magically, manifesting many things, then try to write your future diary today. Make that a practice and see what happens. Sit down and write next week's journal as if it had already happened today, and watch what will happen in those 7 days. Have fun with that. Let synchronicity play and hear the melody. I can't remember if that's ever come up in another in another live stream, but I thought that that was a very I just got that's a very powerful magical technique. If you actually sit down and detailed map out, this is how my day will look like when I look at it from behind in the future. You begin to short circuit these intentions and these open spaces of how life can flow in. So I'd be very, if anybody does that, begins to write their future journal, I'd be very interested to hear what the effects were, because that would be incredibly powerful as a manifestation technique. So there's that. And then question 2, Heart of the Phoenix. I have had 2 unique experiences with a dove this week. It responded to my vocalizations as if it were performing a dance. Can you shed light on the meaning of these special interactions? That is beautiful. Well, as the ancients well knew, sometimes an animal is just an animal. Sometimes an animal is a messenger from above. A dove is a very likely candidate. That is, if the Almighty, the higher self, fate, destiny, wants to really catch your attention, and it's addressing somebody from a Christian cultural context and background, then a dove would be the perfect candidate, wouldn't it? Say, the Holy Spirit coming there, responding to your vocalizations. Know that the Holy Word, the Holy Spirit, you have already felt it move through you. And now you see it joining you on the outside world, announcing to you that this speech This breath that moves through you, this spirit, this Holy Ghost, it has descended as an initiation, and it is moving, coming through you. This breath moves in you so that it can move in the world, so that this holy dove may again spread its wings and fly. Notice also the timing you are in and how this aligns with Pentecost and these experiences of the apostles. And you will find that when you do not look for awakening, awakening will certainly look for you. My love, dear one. And question 3, I have been seeing tiny lights fly high over my house at night. Are they of ET origin? If so, do they know I see them? I feel like they do. You will notice that, let's say, a more clever piece of technology than a radar detection system would be a system that detected whether or not somebody was actually consciously turning their attention towards you at any moment. You will find that you often have this awareness intuitively. You yourselves as spiritual beings that sometimes forget the circumstance, you still are quite aware when somebody is watching you. You still have a sensitivity to what you call the evil eye. You still also have a sensitivity to when there might be mystical forces at play, when the Holy Ghost may be reaching out through you, through the presence of an animal. And so these beings too are well aware of you. And you are connecting to this lineage. In your case, these are Pleiadian vessels. They are in particular connected to those that call themselves the Pleiadian High Command, or those that are very invested in the development of the grid of the planet and the development of the human species at large at this moment. So they are aware that you are there. Your resonance has risen. They are visible to you for that reason. And of course, you are visible to them. You are interesting to them. They relish your participation in this awakening of the love and light on this great planet, this Garden of Eden that you inhabit. Our love to you, dear one. Yes. And then Tony asks, Dear Lord Shiva, can you please tell the group how many previous connections I and our brother Salish have had over the eons? This should be interesting. Some good past life scanning, channeling. Are we only counting human lifetimes? That is, of course, the question. So That is, if you are looking for, let's say, past lifetimes in this universe at large, in time that has passed from this point of your existence until now, we will find that you have shared approximately 27,233,455 lifetimes connected to each other. Human lifetimes is a more meager number of 532 lifetimes of significance influence over each other. So these are lifetimes where, let's say, you have been adjacent to each other in your environment for longer periods of time. So we sense, for instance, a lifetime here where you're throwing Salish overboard. This is a trip on a Portuguese slaving vessel in the 1500s, late 1500s, and you're caught on some of these horse latitudes, as they're known, as some of these places where you can't get the draft to proceed. And so to conserve water, you're simply stuck throwing the cargo, in this case, human beings, into the water. And this is a case where we sense that Salish is among these that are being dumped into the water. And this is a part of the guilt that is also has built itself up in lifetimes. If it's any consolation, we then sense here is a lifetime. Here we are later, we are again in the First World War, but this is a lifetime where Salish is descending into the French trenches, and here he gets to stab you to death as a German soldier. So this is quite dramatic. You have had a lot of very dramatic exchanges. The two of you often killed each other, and so it's to end this on a more happy image, that here we see the two of you sitting in an old folks home, and this is somewhere in Georgia, the country, not the American state. We sense that you are sitting here, and somehow you have both survived frostbite, different trials, hardships, and things. But you're simply playing a friendly game of chess, and you keep playing this. It's like you're playing game after game after game, but it's one infinite game that you're playing with each other. So here you have become each other's companions, and you have worked this adversarial relationship that the both of you also have into a type of harmony. Our love to the both of you, indeed, to all beings, finding themselves aware at this moment. Yes, I think we're getting through all of them, and I am a little blown through, but I think I'll just scan to see if I missed someone. But other than that, it actually looks like we got to them all, guys. So so that is awesome. Here Brian asks, and let that be the final question, I think. He asks simply, what is the significance of the two-sided drum that you are often depicted holding? Lord Shiva, what is the significance of the two-sided drum that you are often depicted holding? Is the stillness within the sound. It is only through the point of two and through the movement back and forward between these two beats, that the stillness becomes palpable, that the metronome of mind moves in to a balanced swinging, a soft circular motion, a pendulum that moves around itself in balanced silence. Always you need the two sides. Always you need the inside and the outside of the circle, the bottom and the top of the line. The faces that the world puts on to see itself smiling, to see itself laughing back at itself. It is the beat of the dance that is life itself. It is the movement. It is the pulse, the emotion, and it is the stillness that surrounds it. Abide in this stillness as this full moon wanes into emptiness. This emptiness adds to the fullness. This fullness, it is, you are, together, complete in one union of being in love. Farewell. I hope that served you, guys. That was beautiful. I felt like the energies were just very bright and pure, and that's of course because you guys also pour so much beautiful energy into these co-creations. So thank you thank you so much for that. And just before this happened, I saw just the horses get put out to pasture literally here on the meadow just outside, and it's so magical just seeing this kind of like the happiness that moves through horses when they get to roam and play around and run around. So in that way, life is undeniable, and it just keeps going, roaming forward. I hope you will also, yes, roam forward. You will have a wonderful month of June, and we'll see you around and see you at another live stream soon. Thank you so much for today, guys. Much love.